Welcome back to another webisode of Life Talk with Shell. I would like to welcome all the ones who are new to the channel, and I want to say thank you for those who are coming back. If you are new to the channel and you love what you hear today, please subscribe, please like the video, and please share it with your friends. I want to say, excuse my voice. I am not 100% better, but I'm better though, and I will probably drink my tea. So if you're having your coffee or your tea while you're watching this, hey, cheers, I'll be drinking my tea also so that my voice can at least stay at this range throughout this video. I wanted to also say that I will be looking at my notes. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing, because I love to make sure that I'm saying everything that God is having me to say to the people. Today we are talking about marriage, and we are going to talk to married couples and to singles who are desiring to be married. Y'all, I am so super excited about doing this particular topic, because it is something that is near and dear to my heart, something that we probably don't talk about all the time in a positive light anymore. I also just kind of want to share my experiences and what my take is on marriage, what I used to think marriage was, and what I think, what I know marriage is to be now. For me, when I got married, I was married young, which really doesn't mean anything, because there are a lot of people who are getting married young and they have successful marriages. But at that time, I don't believe we were ready. My view on marriage was, you fall in love and you have this ceremony and you get this big party, everyone comes celebrate, and love is just going to conquer all. No. Love did not conquer all, because it's a special kind of love. You're loving unconditionally. You are loving selflessly, and those were my things I thought about, that everything was going to be fine because we loved each other when we went in and didn't know how to effectively communicate, didn't really properly even know how to love, all of those things. And, that is why the marriage failed. But as I have gotten older, and I have been, I'm not going to say researching, but I have been, asking God about marriage and seeking advice and things from married couples and all those things. I've learned what marriage is, as far as having a kingdom marriage and as far as what God says it is. So now marriage to me is a covenant. Marriage to me is a servitude. Marriage to me is a ministry. And it really truly has nothing to do with love. Yes, you love your spouse, and all those good things, but marriage is what God has designed for the upbuilding of his kingdom. So when you are joined together with your husband, or your wife, then you guys are together to see what you can do for the kingdom of God. Because just as everything else in your life should glorify God, your marriage should glorify God as well. I'm excited also because I send out messages to couples and to singles, asking questions for them to give me some feedback about what they thought marriage was and all of those things. So I am ready and just to get all into that, because that, really blessed my soul, and it really made me question some things. Because after you see this video, it's going to be one or two things. If you're single, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm ready for marriage, I got this. Or two, it's like, yeah, no, I that's not what I was thinking marriage was. And then if you're already married, you can be like, hey, yeah, we got it, that's what we doing, all that stuff. Or you can be like, okay, we probably need to go back to the drawing board. Not to say that what I'm saying here is just absolutely right. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it is my hope and prayer every time that we talk about things going on in life, that it kind of awakens you, and maybe you had a different perception about something, and maybe it's like, oh, okay, I've never thought about it that way. So these webisodes are only just to get you to think about things maybe in a different way, or to just confirm some things that you probably have been asking or praying about or just talking about in your circle. So I want to first say the disappointing thing about marriage or relationships is there is 1,000,010 books and conferences and classes and webinars and all this stuff telling the woman how to be a wife. But you probably can find five conferences or classes about the man telling the man how to be a husband. So you mean to tell me you want us to learn how to be good wives to these no good husbands? Come on, get it together. Where are the men? Where are the churches? Where are the people that are calling out the kingdom man and showing them the ins and outs of marriage and all the things like that? Now, I do know personally, because I've served at men's conferences and I've been to women conferences, men just don't come out. They don't come out for help like that. Whether it's pride, whether they don't want to be in a vulnerable situation with other men talking about things, or I just don't know. They just don't come out. It was probably 200 or 300 people maybe at the men's conference at our church, and then it was probably 5,000 women at the women's conference, because we come out, we want to know, we're trying to make ourselves better, we're trying to make our family better, we're trying to make everybody better. So we're coming out to learn. So that's disheartening. So I'm praying that there's going to be more things that will come into play for men and learning what marriage is about. So I asked these questions. Let's just get to the questions and we'll talk about that. Excuse me, guys. I need a little tea. I asked the married questions, and listen, I got responses from men and women, so I was very, very, very happy about that. So I asked the married people, number one, what do you wish you knew prior to getting married? And a lot of people, the majority of the people, number one, said, I wished I would have known that all the work that was required in a marriage. All the work that's required. You have to work on marriage every day. You have to work on it every single day. Marriage is a call to servitude. It is for the husband to serve his wife and for the wife to serve her husband. And if you are not in a place in your heart, if your heart is not positioned to serve, don't you get married. And if you're already married and you guys are not serving each other, please go back and pray and ask God to show you how to serve your spouse. I remember reading an article years ago, and it simply said, if the husband put the wife's needs in front of his, and if the wife put the husband's needs in front of hers, then no needs will be left unmet. And a lot of people don't want to do that. Marriage is not about you. Marriage is about the unit, the thing that you have joined together. It is not just about you, it's about your other person. So a lot of them were saying, the amount of work that it requires, that you have to work at it. That's what they wish they would have known. Some people wish they would have known that, you had to be mindful of the person's work ethic. I wish I would have known those things before. I wish I would have known that, what's in the refrigerator is not just mine, just simple, crazy, things or funny things. But these are the things they wish they would have known about it. The second question that was asked to the couples was, what has been your biggest challenge since you've been married? Number one, right off the top for everybody, most everybody, was communication. Learning how to effectively communicate. That is the key to all relationships. Like I said, people's like, oh, it's love. No, love is not it. Communication is it. Because if you can't communicate how you want to be loved, then, love again don't have anything to do with it. So communication was just effective communication, learning how to have disagreements before there is an explosion, learning how to agree to disagree, learning how to compromise. all of these things were the biggest challenge. Again, I say, if you're going into marriage and, it's going to be all about me and he better do this and he better out. No, yeah, no. That is not what marriage is about. And I'm going to say this, and I'm really going to say it to the women, but I know some men are like this too. Women, your husband is not a mind reader. You cannot assume that just because you're going around slamming doors and, and not cooking dinner and all these things, that he knows what's wrong with you. He doesn't know if you didn't tell him. You have to learn how we tell our little children, use your words, honey, so that he can know. And then the same thing as for men. She cannot assume that something is bothering you. She's not going to know. You have to communicate these things. You have to talk. You have to talk. You have to talk. So that's been some of the biggest challenges that some of the married couples said that they have had, because people have different communication styles, and so just trying to learn how to not be so blunt when you're so used to not having no filter, and maybe going away and writing down what you want to say, and then women, don't get so mad if they want to say, what, they walk away and they didn't want to talk about it. Don't keep pushing the envelope about it. Just say, okay, I understand you don't want to talk about it right now. However, we will talk about it. So I'll let you, sit around and get your thoughts together. And tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're talking about it. Don't let them walk away with no resolution. You have to say, okay, we're not going to talk about it now, but we will talk about it. And don't let it fester. Don't table it to 2 and 3 and 4 weeks down the line. You guys need to talk about it that night or the very next day. So communication was a big challenge for a lot of the people, and just learning how to work through issues. The third question was, what do you love about marriage? Yes, what do you love about marriage? Gosh, so many people said the stability, building things together, accomplishing goals. I love the togetherness. One man said, I love the lady. I just love the relationship. It's special to me. What I love about marriage is that he's my biggest cheerleader. He's my biggest fan. He loves me unconditionally. All of those things is what they love about marriage. And I wanted to throw that question in there because I didn't want it to seem like we're just looking at the negative parts of marriage. I wanted to know, what do you love about marriage? Because in society, we don't really get to see good marriages all the time. And we're hashtagging black love and all those different things. But, and this is a multi-race channel. So, love, period, good, wholesome love, period, is absolutely wonderful. So what things are you loving about your marriage? And I would suggest that if you felt like your marriage is kind of going on a down slope, or you really can't remember why you got married, you just go back and ask yourself, what did I love about marriage when I first got into it? Have we gotten too comfortable with ourselves or with each other that we are not doing what we're supposed to do for each other? So, that question was very good. What do you love about marriage? I just love coming home to somebody. I just love, having somebody in my corner at all times. Those are the things that I love about marriage. And then one of the last question was, what are the things you don't really care for in a marriage? One person said, it's not really nothing I don't really care. It's ups and downs in everything. It's a part of life. You definitely have to work at it. So, it's going to be some things, some challenging things that you have to work at. Some person, it's like, somebody is always in my space. That's what I don't really care, for about marriage. One man said, I don't like that she leaves all her things around the bathroom, just this, because there are some things that you don't like. There was a lot of people said, I don't like the disagreements, I don't like the marital spats. A lot of people, especially people who are laid back and relaxed and just don't like all of that, they don't want confrontation. And so if you have a spouse that doesn't like confrontation, whether it's a husband that doesn't like it or a wife that doesn't like it, then it's not going to benefit you to come at them, charging at them about this and this, you know, and you said this and it's not going to benefit you, because they're going to most likely shut down. So that's the importance. You need to learn who your spouse is, you know. And then for the singles, work on yourself and figure out what things you know, what kind of wife, what kind of husband you want to be. You want to always know that, you know, marriage you should be full of forgiveness. You should know how to forgive one another, even when you don't want to forgive. This is your partner in life. This is your partner in crime. You know, some things you have to swallow your pride on. It's like, okay, we don't have to go there. You know, that's not going to kill me. That's not damaging my soul. That's not toxic to me. So I can kind of let that one pass. You know, we just have to remember that we are two human beings coming together to form a life. Together, and you were who you were. You should be your complete self before you get married. So it's two complete people coming together to make a whole. This person is not completing you. If you're waiting on your husband or your wife to complete you, I'm gonna need you to go get some kind of book. What is Sarah Jake's husband name? Teray Roberts. I think he is. I think his book is called Wholeness or something. Go get a book so you can be whole, because nobody don't want to marry a half somebody. Okay, and I done got off track, but that's just what, you know, we need to remember. But we also need to remember, I cannot stress enough that marriage is a service. It is a call to duty. It is a ministry. Everybody is not called for the ministry of marriage. Everybody is not. It is not for everybody. If you cannot love unconditionally, if you cannot show compassion, if you cannot show grace, if you cannot show forgiveness, if you cannot be selfless, then marriage is probably not for you. If you don't want to compromise, marriage is not going to be for you. So as we sit down and we think about different things, you know, what do you have to bring to the table to the marriage? What is your value to it? You know, you cannot wait for somebody to just bring all the stuff to you. What are you giving to the marriage? What are you, you know, are you going to be easily broken? Are you going to give up easily? Are you going to run away at the sign of any type of conflict or any type of arguments? You know, I'm done. Because once you get married, you can't do those things. You have a covenant. You have a commitment to your spouse, but most importantly to the Lord, to uphold these vows and to work on whatever it is that is going wrong in the marriage. You know, I want to go back to communication. If you have not yet taken like that love test, the love language test, that's the best thing, because so many people, even with our children, they have a love language test for children, for singles, for friends, for couples, all that stuff, because we tend to try to love people the way we receive love. And you wonder why. You know, it's like, have you heard people say, it doesn't matter what I do, you know, she's never satisfied, he's never satisfied, I cook, I this, I that. Okay, well, his love language may be quality time. So while you doing all this cooking and you buying all these things and ironing his clothes, that's not his love language. So he's not going to feel loved. She's not going to feel loved. And then men, if you buying all of these gifts, you know, trying to shower perfume, flowers on her, she's like, oh, that's nice, thank you so much. When her love language may be words of affirmation. She may want to hear you say, oh, honey, I just, you know, I love you so much. You know, you do such a good job with taking care of the household. You do such a good job with raising our children. I know that it's not easy, but I just want to say thank you. Hers may be words of affirmation. She don't care nothing about no flowers. She don't care about no perfume. Not saying that she don't want it, but that's not her love language. So it's very, very, very important. And I will put the link on in the description box to the love language test. It's very important that you know how to love your spouse the way they receive love, not the way you receive love. Don't go trying to change your spouse. When you go and start praying to God about your husband or your wife, I want you to notice how God changes you. He doesn't necessarily change that man or that woman. He changes you. He changes your heart. He try to get you to self-reflect, to see what's really going on. Also, that in the same token, they also have the the apology, your apology language. How you receive apologies. How do you I'm lost for words, but I have to find the test, and it may not be called apology, but that's what it is. So for me, I need to see that. I need you to acknowledge that you've done whatever it is that you've done. And then I need to see the change in it. You can't just, come up to me like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, what are you sorry for first? I'm sorry that I spoke to you that way in front of your friends. You can't just say I'm sorry. So, you need to find out. And those are the things I've talked about in the past webisodes, that you need to find out you need to find out what it is that you like, and what you need and what you want, and therefore you can communicate it better to that person that you are trying to be in a relationship with. The one thing, or some of the things that I want you guys to walk away with, that you're in a marriage, or that you're a single desiring to be married, that marriage is a covenant, that it is a ministry, that it is a call to duty, and that you are forever growing with this man and this woman, and you're not gonna know all things about them right off the bat. One person said it so greatly in one of the questions, that the beginning of the marriage, the beginning years of marriage, is where you are building, you're laying the foundation, and then the latter parts of the marriage is where you are building on that foundation. And you have to remember, especially for those who are not living together prior to getting married. So you've been living on your own all this time, and then you come together, and the things that you like to do may not be the necessary things that he like to do. Then you got an early riser and a late sleeper, and all of these different things that you're trying to mesh into one, and you got to leave the selfishness behind. If you're not a person that 6 o'clock in the morning, don't say nothing to me. I mean, yeah, but if I'm up at 6 and we up at 6, at least you can say it's good morning. But I'm not going to force you to have a conversation with me, because I know that you're not a morning person. But those things come with time. Those things come with communication, because even if you've talked about it prior to marriage, it's nothing like getting in that house and then y'all living together, and I need closet space, and you're making up too much noise, shut all the lights. Why you got all the lights on? I'm still in the bed sleeping. All of those things that you have to get through. Marriage can be fun. Marriage can be a wonderful, wonderful thing. One person said, what I love about marriage is I get to live with my very best friend. How awesome is that she felt like her husband is her best friend. I get to live with my best friend. And so you have a forever movie date. You have a forever person that you can talk about other people to when y'all at parties and going on. You have a forever friend when you get married. So you don't want to abuse what God has blessed you so graciously with. And if you realize, as a single person, I don't have time to do all that. I don't want to be, selfless. I don't want to compromise. I don't want to do this. Well, this is a great time that you have discovered that before you get married and you think something else. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back and let me read the questions that I had asked the singles. So the singles, I asked, what is marriage to you? And a lot of them said, it's where two people are joined together with a commitment. They're one unit. It's a partnership. Let me go to my paper so I can get those right. It's a partnership. It's one unit. It's a covenant that God brings together that can't be broken. Is what they feel like marriage is, the singles. And then I asked them, what are your fears and concerns, if any, that you have about marriage? Some of them were thinking, I'm fearful that it won't last. I'm fearful that I don't have what it takes, or that I'm not able to make it work. Some was like, I'm fearful of being a widow. When I get married, loving my husband and then he's gone, I'm fearful that or that my concerns is really breaking generational curses. One woman was like, I don't want to repeat the same thing that I repeated in my first marriage. So that's a fear or a concern for me, because sometimes when especially if we haven't healed from some of those things can pop off, and then it just, it sets you off. It'll take your mind back to those areas those triggers that used to, get you going or get you to say different things. So we want to be mindful of that. The other one was, do you have any preconceived notions about marriage? Now, one person really didn't have any preconceived notions about marriage, but what she's always heard was, nothing's going to change. Marriage is just a piece of paper. And a lot of people say that. Going back to one of the married couples, she said that she didn't like the way society feels about marriage or address marriage. They feel like it's just still dating, and marriage is not that. Marriage is so much different than dating, because if it wasn't, why would get married? You could just stay dating if you didn't want anything to change. So there are some real concerns with singles about what marriage is. You should not fear it, but you should want to learn excuse me, the things about about marriage. We should want to know, when you get ready to get a job or whatever, you start researching that job. What do they have to offer? What are their benefits? How much time I have off? What's your PTO policy? You're looking at all of that. What's your call-in policy? So if you are a single desiring to get married, even if you're a couple, you should be researching about different things you can do for your marriage, and date nights and all of those different things to keep it going, because it is a work. It's not something that you can just do and then let it lay dormant. You have to work at it. You have to do the different things to make sure that your marriage is going to work. So I'm gonna link that the 5 language test. I'm gonna try to find that apology test or whatever it is, so that you can know that also. And that's a good place to start, to learn to know yourself and what it is that you like, so that you can tell somebody how to love you. If you would please leave me some comments, let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you feel marriage is, some different things even that has helped you to grow in your marriage, or some things that have that has been a challenge for you in your marriage. I would like to hear those things too. So if you would just leave me those comments, I would be more than happy to hear them and read them, and I'll comment back. Sorry, I'm about to cut this video shorter than I wanted to, because this throat is kind of giving me the blues right now, because I probably have really talked too much, and my voice has probably gotten lower than it was when we started. But I want you to take whatever you need from this video. And if you are single, please know that marriage is so much more than love. It's so much more than that wedding. It is so much more than that honeymoon. It is servitude. And if you are married, I would encourage you, if you are not serving your husband, if you are not serving your wife, please know that is your duty. That is what you're commanded to do by the Lord, is to be a servant to your spouse. Y'all go on date nights, play games with one another, work at the marriage. Do not let it go into a friend zone. Do not get so comfortable in your marriage that you're just doing things out of habit instead of out of excitement. Okay, so again, thank you so much for tuning in to Life Talk with Shell. Again, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel, if you would like it, if you would also hit the little bell for the notification so that you can know when I upload the video, which is every week on Saturday mornings. And then please share it with your friends so that they can have Life Talk with Shell. Also, I greatly appreciate you guys for coming back every week. If you have any questions or any comments, any concerns, you can email me at lifetalkwithshell@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment in the box. Thank you guys again for your prayers. I am feeling better. Please continue to pray for my throat, and I will see you all next week. And I believe that we will be talking about settling. Have a great day.